This has been one of the most exciting weeks of the year for me when it comes to death metal. Welcome, metalheads. I'm the host of Heavy Metal Philosophy and writer for Metal Digest, John Barbas. It's the weekend. That means we got new metal albums to talk about. Make sure you stick around to the end of the episode for this week's album art of the week. Now, before I bring you my top 5 favorite new albums from this weekend, let's talk about this week's news and big album releases. Y'all, not only did we get a new Cannibal Corpse single drop this week, but we also got an announcement for a new Cannibal Corpse album coming in September. I'm so stoked. And speaking of stoked and freshly dropped new singles, we also got a new single from Deathcore, and we're going to get a new movie that will finally wrap up the story of Metalocalypse, my favorite TV show ever, if that's any surprise to any of you. I can't wait. I'm so glad that it's coming straight to us. We don't have to go to the theaters, and then Adult Swim won't tout their low theater ticket sales as a reason to not do this ever again. Just give it straight to us. It's metal, it's niche. Of course, it's not going to be a summer blockbuster, but those of us that love it, we're passionate about it, and I cannot wait. And if you caught this week's podcast, then you'll already know that I was very excited for a new album from Vexed dropping Friday the 23rd called Negative Energy. Man, this is so good. It's exactly as good as I was expecting it to be. Yes, you need to check out Vexed. And if you missed the podcast, I will have an end screen linking to it at the end of the episode, so make sure you stick around to the end. And also, we got a new album from Fear Factory. It's called Re-Industrialized. It's a reimagining of their old record, The Industrialist. There you go. Dino is out here keeping Fear Factory alive. Not only do they have a new singer and they're going to make new music, but they're reinvigorating the old music. If you're a Fear Factory fan, it's a good time to be alive. And finally, before we jump into the top 5, there's a new album from Deathcore madmen, Mental Cruelty. I've been practicing my German. Let's try this. Zwilligt. Looks like I need to keep practicing, huh? That's the album. Make sure you check it out. Now let's do the top 5. Coming in at number 5, we've got Death Collector. The name of the album is Death's Toll, and this is old school death metal from the UK. If you've been following along on social media, if you caught my podcast with the Death Metal Mom, the Death Metal Mom, then you already know that this is one of her favorite new upcoming bands, and there's a reason for it. These guys are crushing it. Make sure you check out Death Collector. Coming in at number 4, we've got Herodrim. The name of the album is Death of Idols, and this is Blackened Death from Sweden. Did I pronounce that name right? Text on the screen just in case I didn't. And as always, every band's Bandcamp link will be in the description, so it's easy for you to find them. Now, as far as the way the music sounds, this is kind of, I already said it's Blackened Death, but it's kind of got like a crust punk sort of infusion of subtle flavor in there. It's mostly Blackened Death, but I can hear just ever that slight little bit of crust, and it kind of reminds me of Behemoth if there wasn't so much like pomp and grandiosity and it just got down to business. That's what this sounds like to me. I love it. You'll love it too if you check it out. Coming in at number 3, and I'm going to need help with this one. Is it Canum? Is the V in the name actually a U, as is all these extreme metal bands like to do, replace their U's with V's? Or is it, since it's all capitalized, is it KHNVM? Can anybody help me and let me know what this band's called? Regardless, the album title is Visions from a Plague-Ridden Sky, and these guys are somewhat international. There's members from Germany, there's members from Bangladesh, and it's great death metal. No matter where it's from, it's great death metal. It's got that old school feel, but it's got just disgusting stank grooves and riffs, and that's why I like it so much, even though I don't know what the band name is. What is this band name? Let me know. Check it out. Coming in at number 2, we've got structural with D-Crown, and this is melodic death metal from Israel. Now, this is one of those mellow death bands that I really like because they don't really do a lot of clean singing. There's a lot of death metal growling, and then the guitars is what makes it melodic, not these like borderline pop clean choruses. All the vocals are super heavy, but what really makes this one stand out to me is the guitars are borderline tech death. It's definitely not tech death, it's definitely melodic death metal, but they get very technical with the guitar playing, almost like Allegiant a little bit, but you know, it's mellow death instead of tech death, which I found super interesting, and I want to bring it to you. Check it out. And hey, before we do number one, I just want to say, if you love metal the way that I love metal, then you're in the right place, and you should join the Heavy Metal Philosophy community, because that's all we do here. Every weekend, breaking down the best new metal albums, and then every Tuesday, a podcast about the philosophy and background going-ons in the scene of metal on all platforms. So if you love metal, this is the place for you. Join us. Hit like if you like any of these bands, because it helps spread the message, and that's what it's all about. Thank you so much. Now let's do number one. This week's number one is special. The homies over at Wise Blood Records sent me an advance copy of this one, and that means that my review is already published in Metal Digest. Links in the description to all my writings. The band's name is Kriegsgrav, and the album title is Fires in the Fall. This is a black metal band from Texas, but it's black metal with virtuoso guitar playing over it. In my review, I talked about how impressed I was with the vocals, and as impressed as I was with the vocals, I was even more impressed with the guitars. You know, I'm a guitar player, so maybe it's some guitar nerd bias coming out, but I just was blown away by not only the guitar solos, which, like I said, are borderline virtuoso, but just the lead work in general, all the harmonies and the great melodies that went on. It borders on Black and Death, but it's not really Black and Death because it's mostly like pure black metal with a bit of death gloom sprinkled in. It's got this great sound and great melodic sense, but it's evil and frustrated sounding. I absolutely loved it, and that's why it's number one this week. But we're not done, because not only do I have to tell you about this week's album art of the week, but I got a little bonus for you too, so check it out. This week's album art of the week is from The Anchorette, and the name of the album is called It All Began with Loneliness. Check this art out. This person is like in a cube, kinda, and there's a space helmet that they've discarded on the ground, and they're going through a doorway or a portal of some sort to get out of the cube. I don't know, is this some sort of statement about the moon landing? Is it a statement about reality itself and space and time? It's hard to tell, but it goes perfectly with the music because it's a very progressive record. To me, it kind of sounds like if Rivers of Nile wasn't death metal, it was just more like prog rock, slightly metal a little bit. I absolutely love the music. Just because it's the album art of the week doesn't mean that it wouldn't have made the top 5 otherwise. I was just so blown away by the art. It had to be this week's album art of the week. Hey, before we go, I want to shout out another piece of album art that maybe is not album art of the week worthy, but it's still super cool and I want to talk about it. Wizard Tattoo with Fables of the Damned, and I just love that there's like this wizard comic book album cover. Y'all might remember a week or two ago I picked VHS with the Quest for the Mighty Rift for the album art of the week because it had this wizard on it, and I just love death metal wizards. I'm a nerd like that, and here we go. Here we got another wizard, but this time it's stoner doom kinda, and I just love that it's a comic book. That's a great crossover for a metal album. It really stood out to me. I figured I would shout it out. Make sure you check out Wizard Tattoo. And as I alluded to at the beginning of the episode, you can also click right here and you can hear my podcast about Vexed. I'm totally blown away with that band. Super excited for the new album, Negative Energy, that came out today. But most importantly, read philosophy, listen to metal, I love you.